something about what you're doing.
Good afternoon, Mr. Boyd.
Yes, sir.
My name is David Ruffin,
Watch out.
and I'm the leader of the Temptations.
Don't look back.
Listen, I appreciate being here again. Like Mr. Boyd said, Happy Mother's Day. To all. I struggle with that a little bit because, I always say that in our community, there's a mama and a daddy. I say fathers and mothers do ride-bys. And when I have to explain myself to people or the kids, I say, what do you call your mama? Mama. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Mother's Day was designed by somebody else, before mama came along. I don't even know where mama came from, but that's what I call my mama. And quickly I want to go into my mama because my mama is the reason that there is a Pat Clark.
Yes, sir.
My mama, I tell the story all the time, man. My mama told me that when she was carrying me, she prayed to God that I would be a minister.
Wow.
That's
right?
exactly what I said when she said, I said, hell, I enjoy being a devil. You know what I'm saying? Man, but I'm the oldest of 3 kids with my mama.
Mm-hmm.
And, man, that meant I had to go through everything for my sisters. You know what I'm saying? I was that trial run. My mama ran everything through me. She told me I had to be first in everything, man.
Yes,
she
sir.
said, don't nobody remember second. She said second is you the runner up, but first. So I had to be the first in everything.
How
man.
young were you when that message was
that message was
communicated to
delivered long as soon as I could say yes, ma'am.
Watch
You
out.
hear me?
Yes, sir.
That was automatic. It was yes, ma'am, and no, sir, in Juanita and Daniel Clark's house. I said it Juanita and Daniel because Mama ran the house.
Watch out.
My daddy was my daddy, but she was the boss. My mama, listen, if it didn't go her way, it didn't go at all. So all you that don't like me out there, blame my mama.
Uh-oh. Well, I would suggest that all those who do like you blame your mama.
Well,
So
it works
that's a
both
good thing.
ways.
Yes.
My mama was she's the kind of, my mama's 90 years old as of the 12th of March.
Oh, wow.
This past 12. So my mama, man, put it down like this. I send you off to school with something, you better bring me something back. So my mama's like this. We learned how to write in cursive. We learned how to write.
Yes.
We learned how to read. We learned how to talk. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
And with you being a member over there at Friendship Baptist Church, that was the first time I went off to meet God. I met God at her house. And my daddy said it best, man. In my father's house, we served the Lord.
Come on.
My daddy said that. We lived on 40th and South Benton. We walked 3 blocks to 43rd and Montgall and Chestnut, man, to serve the Lord.
Now, this is wonderful because we're at Friendship Baptist Church. My wife was born at Friendship
That's
Baptist
right.
Church, and
That's
she
right.
lived on 37th and Mount Gall.
I think I knew Wanda before you did.
You did?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because my last name's Clark.
Watch out.
And we was always identified with them. They was the light-skinned Clarks.
Is that right?
One of my sisters could pass for one of them because she light-skinned.
Watch out.
You know what I'm saying? But the values of love, life, and God was right there. It was automatic because Mama said so.
You know what? This is extremely important to me. And by the way, you know DeQuay Wilson. So DeQuay, please, when you want to jump in, I'm looking at him and I don't see you. So please jump in because you always have something so valuable to contribute. Are you ready at this point?
Not
or
at
let
this
me say this, that I am singularly honored on this particular occasion hearing from the Pat Clark everybody doesn't know. And this is very important in terms of those roots because what your parents, what your mom in particular instilled in you at a young age, some took hold and some you tested out. so that when you are talking to young people today, you have an authentic representation of
Yes,
what
sir.
it is.
Yes, sir.
So give us a little bit of that background and how far you've come, Mr. Pat Clark.
Well, I I had a whole another agenda,
Okay.
when I came here. But God don't make no accidents, man. I talk about my mama all the time, man. I tell people all the time, I couldn't stand my mama. I couldn't stand her because this is how it had to be. Anybody that know my mama, my relatives will tell you, baby was, man, she wasn't no joke. My mama, I remember one time, man, we was in church, and she's a whole different woman, man. We was standing out in the foyer,
Yes, sir.
and we waiting for the doors.
Was this on 43rd
on
Street?
43rd,
Yeah.
and this lady went over and she tapped Mama on the shoulder and said, "Hey, Juanita, how you doing?" And Mama reared back and pow! She hit that lady in her arms. She said, "Don't you ever touch me. Don't try to hit me on the slide. You hear me?"
My goodness.
Hey, look, I'm telling you about my mama because she my mama.
This is the
You know
vestibule
what I'm
of the
saying?
church that he.
Hey, man, look. Hey, man, I looked, I said, I'm already scared of her. You know what I'm saying? But when I saw that, I ain't never seen nobody get punched in church before.
Watch out.
And I never forgot that. And see, the kind of mama that I had, man, I told you about being first, but my mama, she put me here.
Mm-hmm.
She dressed us the way she wanted us to look, man. I don't care if she went to the thrift store, man. You couldn't tell when she got through.
Wow.
If she had a hole in it, man. But see, and then talking about the hole, my mama taught me how to cook, clean, and sew at 7. My mama worked 30-something years, 36 years at Safeway over on Broadway. My daddy worked 30-something years for the post office. Sunny Slope,
Yes, sir.
Troost, and when it
Yes.
got down there. But my mama orchestrated to me how she wanted it to be. Like I said, she sent me off to school and say, "You better bring me something back. What you learned today?" But see, the difference between
This is so good.
my mama and other mothers, or some other mothers, that my mama would whoop me before I went to work. Before I went to school. Before I went to school.
Sounds like she might have before
Mr.
you went
Boyd,
to
you
work.
hear me, man?
Right.
And you know why she whooped me? She told me, because I know you're going to act up. I know you're going to act up. But I want you to be prepared for what you're going to get when you come back. I want to send this out with you so you
My
know what you
goodness.
got coming back.
So you're gonna get it here before
man.
you have to get it out there.
Listen. This ain't no story. This is a movie.
Now this is interesting, an interesting movie to me, because as you said, you knew my wife before I knew my wife. I was on the south side of Chicago until 1980. But in Pat Clark's life, before I moved here, what was going on Montgale and Benton, and
We was a family, man.
Did you receive those messages and act accordingly?
Hey, I say I was the only kid that got treated that way from my particular mama. But everybody got disciplined, man.
You better believe it.
And I remember days where Pat Clark got whooped before he got home.
Oh.
Coming down the block.
Thank
Miss
you.
Tucker got me. You hear me?
That's right.
Miss Carter got, man, that village thing that they talk about, Mr. Boyd, that was a village.
Yes, sir.
Now we just
Yes, sir.
acquaintances, individuals, people that just live there, because we ain't neighbors. We far from neighbors, My mama, and I gotta say this, man, because I don't want to get off
Okay.
key, but I think you and everybody else that it was a black male or black between the 1800s and 1999, God was forced on you. See, you didn't get to do what these kids do now. Tell you they don't want I don't want McDonald's, I want Burger King. I don't want to eat this, I don't want to eat this. But one thing that you couldn't do when we came up, you couldn't tell your mama or your daddy that you didn't want no Jesus.
Oh, my Lord.
You hear me?
Come on.
I wish you would. Man, I called my daddy by his first name one time just playing with him. I'm a teenager. I said, hey, Dan. Woof. I heard him coming before he swung. I saw it. I ducked,
See,
but he let me know. See, you couldn't call your daddy or your mama by their first name. That was rule number 1. Now,
let me tell you, when I was growing up, again, south side of Chicago, Ida B. Wells housing projects, they call us the Dirty 30s. We lived on 37th Street.
yes, sir.
At 6 o'clock, I couldn't find anybody outside to play with. Because at 6 o'clock, everybody was eating dinner at their house at the dinner
table. At the table.
Come on.
At the table.
Yes, sir.
And then when you go back outside, you got another hour and 20 minutes to get back in there, what they say, for the street light came
Now, let me tell DeQuay Wilson something. Are you hearing this gentleman in this studio on this occasion whose name is Pat Clark?
I am hearing
And
it.
there are people who are seeing the essence of somebody who is a lot deeper than they realized because you are so busy working with the young people in the community, cleaning up the community, trying to find a peace where there's violence, all of those things. But this helps anybody who knows him to understand more about your conviction and where it comes from.
But you know something? Where we come from is while we have the type of relationship with God that we have now. See, the older I'm 59,
Yes, sir.
and I'm drawn more to God now than I ever was. Yeah, I was a church boy, but me and Keith Kelly was all over the church. You hear me? We was devil's angels. You know what I'm saying? You know, your parents were friends. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Serving
That's
the same
right.
God.
Yes, sir.
You hear me? I was at
Absolutely.
Miss KUAW Wilson's house because me and Tim was best friends. You know.
Oh, man,
but,
that's...
But then I had another best friend, and I never saw them step foot in a church. You know, as long as he lived, even when he died, the funeral wasn't in the church.
My Lord.
You know, and only because it's my Lord that you know we can have these type of conversations, man, because there's a lot of people that would love to have this conversation that's not here no more.
Yes, sir.
And the way that my mama raised me, man, again, like I said, you know, I had a problem with her, man, you know, because I was always getting disciplined, you know, not knowing that Joe Jackson and Juanita Clark was one of the same.
Yes, sir.
You know, I would have people, your mom's just the sweetest thing. I said, yeah, till you live with her. You know what I'm saying? Don't put that trash out and see what you get.
Now-
Don't wash them dishes, see what you get.
This is extremely interesting to me because he started a conversation and he said, I had something I was going to talk about. This helps me to understand the depth of your feeling about being raised in a certain way. How does Pat Clark compare and contrast what we're having to deal with today versus how you grew up and the values that are deep within you?
It works fine for me. You know,
Okay.
I got a bunch of kids. And
Yes, sir.
most of them say the same thing. Daddy, you need to learn how to talk to people. I said, okay. I said, well, check this out. Am I still successful at what I'm doing? You know what, Mr. Boyd? It hurts me when I get a phone call and one of the kids that I coached or worked with a minute for something happened, whether they murdered or gone to prison.
Yeah.
You know, because what it does for me, it makes me feel like, man, what was it that I didn't do? You know what I'm saying? See, all those values that my mama put in me.
Yes.
See, the thing is
Yes.
that I don't have to physically. I didn't have to whoop my kids all the time. You know, but and still being able to tell my kids what's in me is in you. So don't call me and ask me for $10 when I got Hustler of the Year several times. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the way I felt about it.
See, one of the things that you make me think about is something happens and you look at it, and this was, quote, one of yours, unquote, and that youngster from down the block or wherever they might be succumbed to something that was unfortunate, incarceration, whatever it might have been. And here is Pat Clark saying, I wonder if there's something I could have done. But let me tell you what you don't see. The number of people you have helped who have come out wonderful, you don't know how many things you have prevented, because we don't brag about those. We don't always put when you see breaking news, you're going to see some bad news.
Right.
Well, all of the good news doesn't always come out because they're doing just fine. And you won't meet those who are doing just fine before you meet those who are part of breaking news.
But in our neighborhood,
come on,
good news don't shine that long on the news.
See?
You know what I'm saying? I just talked to one of the news guys this morning.
Yes.
You know, I say, man, we had something going yesterday, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate y'all being there.
Yes.
But how is it that Mrs. Solosky's cat runs Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, and early Monday morning?
Yes, sir.
But when we over there and we in the middle of a war, in a war zone.
Yes, sir.
And some people kind of feel like we not making a difference up there. But man, I'm gonna tell you something. When there's like a peace in the valley, even if it's for a week or a day, and everybody's up there together. One thing I know for black folks, you know, you can feed the mind, the body, and the soul while you're feeding the stomach. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
A lot of those folks that hang out up there, Mr. Boyd, they came over there. Can I get a hot dog? Can I get some chips? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
When one would say a hot dog ain't a lot, it ain't to you because you got it. But
Ooh,
those that don't have it,
my Lord.
man.
Let me mention this, by the way, that this is Wave Your Grades. We are on KUAW.org. DeQuay Wilson is our announcer and co-host, producer, and engineer, and we are blessed. My name is Carl Boyd, a civilian host. The reason I say civilian host is because it is dedicated to veteran service personnel, and they are very pleased when they hear from Pat Clark, because we always say this: it is shameful if somebody is deployed to go to war and comes back to a neighborhood that's more violent than where they served. Mm-hmm. So when they can come back to a neighborhood, and yesterday, look at Channel 9, and Pat Clark has a bullhorn or a microphone and is addressing the crowd, that helps them to feel better because somebody is on guard and taking care. So that's the nature of this program. Please, when I think of the word enjoy, that's just one word. But when we think about sports in the community, when we think about education and tutoring in the community, when we think about those good things you mentioned, give us some of what Pat Clark is doing that we can join you in doing.
Well, the word enjoy,
yes, sir.
That's the name of my program.
Yes.
For years, me and other folks and friends been talking about how the Joy program was. And, man, what a joy it would be if we had the Joy program now. And so, I kept working at it. So 5 years ago, 43 years later, I brought the Joy program back and renamed it Enjoy.
Yes, sir.
Because I needed something catchy while I'm trying to provide these kids with job opportunities. And so Enjoy stands for Engineering Neighborhood Job and Opportunities for Youth. Mm. So, and I really don't remember how the Joy program was ran, but I do know this: the people that were involved in it back then reached out to me when they saw the success of it, and it was going again. So, um, one thing that I do is take pride in the Enjoy program
Mm-hmm.
because my love for kids and my the structure that my mama gave me, man.
Yes.
So um, that old, he's mean, he's stern, he don't never smile. Hell, I'm smiling now.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir.
My mama gave me this look, man. I'm telling you, if you went through what I went through, you understand. I don't have to show my teeth, cause I didn't then.
Yes.
Boy, I show my teeth, man. She said, "Oh, you think it's funny?" See, that I gotta give you the story on why I look like I look. You know, my mama, man. And like I said, this wasn't no accident,
Come
man.
on.
You know, my mama said you have to be like this. She didn't say it like that. She showed me that. And so everything that I had to be like or had to do, had to experience with, man, was the building of the man. I don't know if anybody else even went through this, man. And I want to let people know I'm not saying nothing bad about my mama.
Without a
I'm
doubt.
saying she did one hell of a job.
Yes, sir.
Like I said, if you don't like me, too bad.
Well, I'll tell you, sitting on your porch, observing you, looking at the traffic that's coming down, and this is one of the few people whom I know who will actually say, slow down. This is you're in somebody's neighborhood. Would you want somebody driving through your neighborhood if your children were out here? And most of us shake our heads. Pat Clark says something. Pat Clark does something, and that makes a tremendous difference. But let me tell you what you remind me of, and you've heard this because it came from Diane Charity. Now, she may not be the first person to have said it, but Diane Charity was the one who said that she grew up with a drug problem. Her parents had a drug problem. They drugged her to church. They drugged her to Bible study. They drugged her to the PTA meeting. They drugged her. So it was very interesting that we have Pat Clark this afternoon, who never is ashamed or afraid to express himself with passion. And to learn where that passion comes from is extremely important for those of us who know Pat Clark. I see what time it is now. If we give our mid-hour announcements, then we want to come back to Pat Clark and enjoy even more.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
7th and 8th grade students, you can win a monetary prize from our sponsoring organization. Yes, we say organization on purpose, with purpose, Stutes for Boots. Your essay title will be Heroes You Know You Did Not Know Were Heroes. Your content will identify a veteran at your school, can be a teacher, custodian, coach, absolutely anyone. If your essay is chosen and submitted by an adult who gives you permission to read it on this Waive Your Grades program, you will be awarded a monetary prize. For entry or inquiry, please send submissions to stootsforboots@gmail.com. That is STOOTSFORBOOTS @gmail.com. Stootsforboots@gmail.com. Now back to our host and our guests, Carl Boyd and Pat Clark.
Thank you so very, very much. With Pat Clark, I have something that I want to broach, but before I do, let me make sure that you get out what is on your mind and important to you. So, shall I go to the next question, or is there something that you want to make sure that you get to us?
You talked about not being scared to say something.
Thank you.
Man, look here. That's another thing I got from my mama, man.
Yes.
But you know that old saying, if you're scared, go to church? I quit saying that. If you're scared, say something.
Praise God.
Scared,
Come
say
on
something,
now.
because you ain't scared no more.
Yes. That is
And-
so
and
important.
I'm not scared to say nothing because I'm not scared to be me. I've had white women who have a problem with me because they don't understand me, Mr. Boyd.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They don't understand me because they can't understand a black man's passion. They can't understand a black man's rage because they don't come from where I come from. They didn't come up the way I came up. And so when I say things unlike other people say it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but you wasn't supposed to say that. I said something in a meeting one time, and this was directed to those who were coming in our community, you know, to
Yes.
build, and you know, because now they feel like they don't need to talk to us before they do something. They just come in and do it. So, you know, I'm in a room full of people. Half the room is white, other half is black. So the lady said, we want to come in your community, in your neighborhood, and we want to do this. You know, I said, well, who is we? You know, she said, what do you mean? I said, who is we? I said, because, you know, I want to know who's having sex with me. And she didn't understand it. See, to us that live where we live, somebody's always coming in with the screw. You know what I'm saying? They call you after
okay.
the
Now
fact.
that makes more sense
I
even
caught
to
it
me.
They come in
Right
after the
away,
fact. Yeah,
yeah.
you know, like I said again, they didn't get it because I didn't say it like, you know what I'm
Thank
saying?
you. That's
You know,
it. Okay.
I
You said
say
it
things that
politically
people
correct.
want to say but scared to say, man. You know, and I'm doing good. I thank the Lord because,
Praise
you know,
God.
I ain't used no
Yes, sir.
four-letter words. Like, you know, man, I get comfortable. But
And just for a second, the way you said,
Oh, he attempted to say it politically correctly.
oh,
yeah, yeah,
okay.
you know, and it came back that I had a white lady said, you said this and you said that, and you wanted to have sex with her. I'm like, in a room full of people, man, please tell me, where did I say that at? He said, well, what did you say? So when I said it to him,
Yes.
you know, he said, oh,
He caught it immediately.
yeah. But this was a black man telling me what a white lady said to him. And all the time, it ain't white women because you can say hi to a black lady, you hear me? And she interpreted for he trying to holler at me.
Now, considering where I was going was simply 360. This Thursday I was at Kansas City Transition Center, so I didn't make the 360 meeting. And if you want me to attempt to explain it, I can. But from your perspective, one of the things that Pat Clark represents, and this is just one venue, this is just 360, but wherever you are, with that same kind of candor, with that same kind of attention, how do you feel about such programs, and what do we need to do in a cooperative, positive manner?
I'll say this. I serve on a lot of boards.
Yes, sir.
Well, I ain't gonna say a lot, a few. But anyway, it was a board that was like this. And the board led me to believe, well, the program led me to believe one thing, and that it was going to be great. You know, as a person who sold drugs way back, I understand both sides of the streets.
Yes.
Because, see,
Yes.
some people don't understand how this works. Because as a guy, every guy that sold drugs or sell drugs is not a drug dealer. You know, some people's hands are forced. Some decide to rob people. Some people to rob banks, steal, whatever. And then there's the quick and fast money. And once you make your first $10, you looking forward to that next 10 or the next 50, the next.
Okay.
And so, I gotta say this: there is no difference between a drug dealer and a drug user because they both become an addiction. You hear me?
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
the more I made the money, the more I wanted to go. You know, but at the same time, I didn't want to go to jail. You know, but see, the thing with this is that this program was supposed to be designed to help that guy or that woman that was going through that situation or that transition. And then when that program didn't be who they portrayed to be to me, because, see, I'm out selling the program, man. Hey, they're going to help you get a job, man. They're going to help you out of that life. They're going to help you finish school. You know what I'm saying? They're going to help you.
Now, I would be remiss if I didn't mention two things. One of the things that is important, and I don't know how familiar you are with the 360 program, but there was a program in Omaha, Nebraska. And the program is, as far as I know, modeled after something that took 10 years to finally get the kind of results in the reduction of violent crime, violence, homicide, those kinds of things. So, one thing is, both you and I look forward to those who are responsible hanging in, and it may take longer than we would like for it to take. And the other thing is, when I was looking at Marquita, for instance, Marquita Brockman Taylor, she is in the Santa Fe community, and we're here with somebody who knows that community better than most people I know. But when I was chairing impact development, we put it up for an historic district, and finally in 1986 it became that. And there were responses that seemed ultimately, after her having to explain often what she is doing, to be positive. So there are some positive responses, and I have to be honest. It appears to me that the Pat Clarks of the world cause us to be responsive because you won't take any less. So that where there are some positive opportunities, how do you reflect? And I use 360 as just one example on things that are happening around us, and those people you can work with, you feel good about. When I think about Pat Clark and the late Calvin Wainwright, I'm looking at a relationship, an association that is so true and so honest and so important. When I invoke that name and how you feel about those who are serious, give me some positive reflections on that.
Um, as far as the neighborhood thing, um, Oak Park is the largest neighborhood association
Okay.
in the city, and um, I thank God that He allowed me to do the things that I do
Yes, sir.
for my neighborhood, for the people in it. You know, everybody don't like something, but or somebody, but going back to my mama, man, you know,
Mm.
you can't accomplish anything when you keep um, listening to people who don't know your neighborhood like you do.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
I've been in Oak Park 59 years. I've seen the good, bad, and the ugly, and right now we building houses on 38th and Prospect. Never thought that I'd be a developer. I didn't know what that was. You know what I'm saying?
Come on.
Until the opportunity for me and my partner, Forrest Tyson Jr.,
Yes, sir.
arose.
Yes, sir.
And I'm proud of that.
Wow.
We're going to build a water park, bowling alley, and skating ring along Brush Creek. I'm telling you it's going to happen.
Yes, sir.
But I say that to say that neighborhood, I mean, man, I'm working on my house, but I still got to talk to you about yours. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
He got a lot of nerve.
Yes.
He got all that equipment back there in
Yes.
his backyard. Hey, but you know what? I'm working on mine. I got a lady around the corner, man, with a whole bunch of stuff on there, and she don't come from the neighborhood,
This
man.
is so good.
And listen, she's a white lady.
Yes.
I told her, I said, you got till next Friday. Well, guess what? Friday came
Yes.
and went,
Yes.
and it's still out there.
Okay.
So if I'm doing what I'm supposed to do and call and say, hey, what we going to do about this? And nothing's been done, But going back to what you said, 360 came in to assist Marquita and Santa Fe.
Stay close.
Santa
to that
Fe.
microphone.
And so Oak Park was brought into the conversation.
Okay.
Man, whether they help Oak Park or not, we gonna still keep doing what we doing. We gonna keep providing jobs, food opportunities. We feed people, man. You know what? I say this, Mr. Boyd, because while you waiting on dinner, lunch is still being served.
Come on. Now, let me just say to you that I have, from my wife and a former pastor in Arizona, the title of a chronic optimist, and they say I have the gift of faith. And I am faithful that what you are doing, what they are doing, what the community is doing will yield positive results, but for one particular reason. You are not going to stop. And this is what, unfortunately, in some instances, in some places, people have not seen the results that they wanted, so they give up. Pat Clark does not see the results you want, so you get busy.
Because I've seen it.
That
I've
makes
seen,
a
I've
big
seen
difference.
what we look like
Come on.
together. That's
Come
why
on.
I'm on 35th and Prospect.
Come on.
That's why on Friday nights,
Thank
we
you.
going to keep doing this every Friday.
Thank
But see,
you.
one thing, man, that I want to touch on before we get out of here.
Yes.
You know what? They blame the mayor. They blame the police chief. They blame the prosecutor. When not one of them has pulled the trigger. Not one of them has raised our kids. Not one of them live with us. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
When I said it, and I'm going
Yes.
to keep saying this, when it's my son, your nephew, your grandson, and we know they live in that life. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
So how do you deal with this when your son has shot somebody and killed him and he run to your house? Do you go hide him? Or do you say, hey, man, let's go down here and try to work this out?
Yes. See, and I had the occasion. Well, as a matter of fact, when I was at the transition center, and these are some inmates who are transitioning into work, had the occasion to mention my rap. I'm 81 years old. I call it my geriatric rap. But the idea behind I am not a snitch, I'm a witness. Some of the lyrics in that suggest there's a difference between a snitch and a witness. When you are violating our community and then accuse me of being a snitch when I am a witness to something that needs to be addressed. So I so much appreciated that when I heard you allude to that in an outside community meeting where you were very adamant about our taking responsibility.
It's us.
Come on.
And it ain't no secret. You know, I'm gonna show you something right quick. When a white cop kill a black man, where they at? They down there in the plaza. You know, and it don't be us from the hood. It be the college kids that live around the corner and folks who are scared to stand up for themselves. I said it. You wouldn't see that person saying none of that by itself. But when they all come together, they throwing rocks and frozen bottles of water at the cops. See, but Lil Ron and Lil Poo Poo from 33rd or from 55th or 57th that live in the hood, they ain't down there. They ain't down there. And see, here's the killer. When the 5 cops beat the boy to death out of town, they was trying to prepare all over for when the video came out. And when I got the call, they said, Pat, we want to get prepared. I said, for what? For what? This ain't nothing but another black-on-black crime. I guarantee you ain't got to worry about nobody acting a fool around here. They used to that.
Now, when I think about, and please keep us on time, and as I said, DeQuay, if you have something that you want to ask or...
If I need to jump in, I will. We still
Okay.
have a few minutes left.
All right. Thank you very, very much. Because what I am hearing and looking at is a possibility for the kind of dialogue that helps everybody to be themselves, be candid, to say what needs to be said, and subsequently to do things that need to be done. When I hear Pat Clark say that some of the people who hear from you have a difficulty hearing from you what you have to say, I mentioned I'm an optimist.
Yes, sir.
Are you pessimistic or optimistic about what this dialogue can do for us in the near and distant future?
Yeah, I pray that somebody hears it and runs with it.
Yes.
You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Thank you.
You know, because shots are fired anytime I say anything. I'm shooting. I'm shooting,
Okay.
sir. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Because I say the mouth is just like a gun. Once that word comes out of your mouth, you can't go back and get it no more. You can the bullet. It's gone. You done shot somebody. So I'm trying to shoot a whole lot of people right now. Hear me when I say that it's us. We can't keep blaming everybody else when you bought your son a gun and now you calling me, asking me to pray for him. You calling me to ask him, help me, he got picked up. You know what I'm saying? You asking me to help you put together a balloon release, a prayer vigil, when
Yes.
you bought him the gun. You know, you got daddies out here giving 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old boys guns and telling them to go protect yourself. I ain't lying. Some of y'all know some of the people I'm talking about. But at the end of the day, where is Paw and Uncle Bob? See, you always had a daddy. I say this all the time. Everywhere you turn in the black community, when we came up, you had a daddy. You know what I'm saying? Don't do that, son. Ain't you? You know what I'm saying? That man would tell me, ain't you Daniel Clark's son? Man, yes, sir. He done already called daddy. Sometime I got a whooping 2 blocks away, and then when I got home, daddy standing there in the door with that belt. It ain't like that no more, Mr. Boyd.
Well, let me tell you something that you said before we get away you wanted to make sure of. One of the things I want to make sure of before we get away is that you give us contact information, or how do we join what you are doing. And even if there is disagreement, the dialogue is heavy, the dialogue is thick, the dialogue is meaningful. How does someone watching this get in touch with Pat Clark? And what do you need us to do?
Listen, all I want is people to come out there and stand with me. If you agree with me, stand with me. Even if you don't, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But again, any organization, you know, we just like the preachers. A lot of us don't like each other. I ain't gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't no secret. Mm-hmm. You know, if that's the case, wouldn't we have more churches out here in the street with us? See, COVID wasn't no accident, man. God knew what he was doing. He pulled them outside. But when they need to be outside and where they need to be, they won't show up. I moved it from Wednesday to Friday because I didn't want to interfere with Bible study and prayer meeting. But Friday at 6 o'clock, you don't have to call me. Just show up. I want to see the preachers that live between 31st Street and 47th Street. All these churches we got. And I don't need to call out no names. So if you got a big congregation and you can't get me 10 people there, that means you know we can't work together because you don't want to.
Friday at 6 o'clock.
Friday at 6 o'clock, 35th and Prospect. I ain't got to give you an address. You'll see us. You know, when I got organizations like Aim for Peace that keep coming. They keep coming, Mr. Boyd. You know, they show up.
Yes.
You know, and we, like I said, we feeding people, man. We had other organizations that came out yesterday, man, in the middle of the street passing out flyers. That's what it's about.
Yes.
It ain't about Pat. I don't care what people say. It ain't about me. It's about us.
I appreciate you so much. We're already at the end of the hour. I want to again make sure that you say, oh, by the way, do you have the names of the young people we'll be blessed to have when you bring them on the program? Any names of young people?
Well, one I know for sure, Heavenly Praise.
Okay.
That's her name, Heavenly Praise. That ain't a rap name. That ain't a poem.
Yes, sir.
This little girl, 19 years old, a law student at Texas Tech, and she come out of that Enjoy program. You know,
You
so
should hear her express herself. And she was on the Zoom at one of the meetings. She is highly intelligent. Anybody else you want to shout out? Any appeal you
man,
want
I
to make?
can't get off of here, man, without saying Happy Mother's Day to my partner, my best friend, and the love of my life, Gwen Garrett Clark. You know, that's my wife for 30 something years, man. And she's been down for
This is
10
good.
weeks.
Oh no.
But you know what? You know, prayer.
Yes, sir.
You know, we pray together.
Yes,
We've been
sir.
reading the Bible together. So that's why y'all hear me talk about God
Praise
more than I
God.
cuss now. Because, you know, if you ain't got no God, if you ain't got no Jesus, you ain't got nobody.
My Lord.
You know what I'm saying? That's right. It's my Lord. You
Come
know what I'm
on.
saying? Our Lord.
There are
Yes, sir.
people who talk about what is going on and how terrible things are. And I always like to go back to, if my people
Mm.
who are called by my name would humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven, then will I forgive their sins, then will I heal the land. 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people. So if we can come together, if that Friday night, if mutual respect even when we disagree, God's got this.
Man.
I'm a chronic optimist. I am full of faith. And I thank you, Pat Clark, for being with us on this afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
You know,
I'll turn it over to our announcer, DeQuay Wilson.
Well, I'd like to thank you all for joining us on your Stoots for Boots Waiver program. We come to you live every Saturday from 1 until 2 p.m. Central Standard Time from the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center in Kansas City, Missouri. I am your announcer, DeQuay Wilson. Now, our host, Carl Boyd, will close with Carl's commentary on academic patriotism and his daily message for students in honor of our veterans from his book, Morning Messages.
I will do the morning message first and then Carl's commentary. To students across the USA, your Stoots for Boots message for this day, May 13th. A warrior is willing to die for a student. Are you willing to graduate for a warrior?
Mm.
Stoots for Boots morning message. And my closing remark today, Happy Mother's Day. And a special prayer for Mrs. Clark. My name is Carl Boyd. Gracious God and wonderful Wanda, I'm on my way home.